training methods. So there are 7 learning objectives in this chapter 7. Number 1, discuss the strengths and weaknesses of presentational, hands-on, and group building training methods. 2, provide recommendations for effective on-the-job training or OJT. 3, develop a case study. 4, develop a self-directed learning module. 5, discuss the key components of behavior modeling training. 6, explain the condition necessary for adventure learning to be effective. And number 7, discuss what team training should focus on to improve team performance. So, introduction, traditional training methods. So, sinasabi na training isn't just important to any company, and it is vital. So, yung training kasi, it gives us opportunity to expand the knowledge of all employees and para na din ma-improve yung job skills ng isang employee to become more effective in the workplace. So, if we will come to think of it, if yung isang employee ay naka-receive ng necessary training, he or she is more able to perform in their job and mas mabibigyan sila ng greater understanding about the responsibilities nila within their role. And by that, pwede natin sila matulungan to build their confidence, and sooner or later, this confidence will enhance their overall performance and yung company yung magbe-benefit nun. So, there are a lot of organizations today na mayroong iba't ibang methods na pagpipilian when training their employees. Like for example, given the fact na mataas yung technological advances in training industry, pero most employer mas prefer nila i-utilize yung traditional methods kasi nakikitaan nila na ito ng efficiency and effectiveness in building an employee. So at the end of the day, yung mga employees is inaasahan na ma-turn nila into actions yung mga knowledge na nakuha nila sa training. So number 1, presentation methods. So there are 3 categories of traditional methods, and the number 1 is presentation methods. Presentation methods are methods in which trainees are passive receptions of information. These informations may include facts, processes, and problem-solving methods. Lecture and audiovisual techniques are presentation methods. It is important to note that instructor-led classroom presentation methods may include lectures, video, workbooks, and manuals, DVDs, and games. That is, a mix of methods can actively engage trainees in learning and can help with transfer of training. So, yung presentation method is kinukonsider siya as one of the oldest training methods, and many of us are familiar with this form of learning since ito yung very common way to teach in today's school system or even noon pa. Lecture. In a lecture, trainers communicate through spoken words what they want the trainees to learn. The communication of learned capabilities is primarily one way from the trainer to the audience. So, yung lecture, yung most popular method na gamitin even though may mga bagong technology na tayo to help us to conduct a training. So, dito sa lectures, there are different ways on how to set trainings gamit ang iba't ibang tools such as Blackboard or Whiteboard, overhead projector, video, PowerPoint, and storytelling. So, sinasabi yung storytelling is the most effective technique kasi trainees can communicate openly and feel less threatened by the response kasi there's no wrong or right answer naman when it comes to sharing your opinions. And by that, mas nagkakaroon ng interaction ang trainees sa trainers. But we should keep in mind that this method has advantages and disadvantages. Lectures have several uses and advantages. A lecture is one of the least expensive, least time-consuming ways to present a large amount of information efficiently and in organization manner to a group of trainees. Lectures are useful when the instructor is main knowledge holder and it's the most efficient and direct way to provide learners with that knowledge. So dito, since as a trainer, you are the center of attraction. Kumbaga, ikaw ang main knowledge holder, sa'yo makikinig ang mga trainees mo, or you are the one who are responsible to share all the knowledge na kailangan nila malaman. So, dapat equip ka bago ka humarap sa mga trainees so that yung mga needed information ay mas mabibigay mo sa kanila. Lectures that are scripted can be used to deliver a consistent message. A lecture can also demonstrate a subject matter expert's passion and enthusiasm for a topic. So sa lecture, pwede kang makapag-prepare in advance. Pwede siyang scripted for you able to deliver excellent information. And by doing that, yung pag-prepare mo in advance, mas maipapakita mo yung expertise mo in sharing certain knowledge about the topic so that mas makakatch mo yung attention ng trainees if you have good communication skills. As a trainer, dapat you have to know how to get someone's attention. So may conduct fun games before starting para mas mabuhayan silang makinig sa'yo. So the lecture method has several disadvantages. Lectures tend to lack participate involvement, feedback, and meaningful connection to the work environment, of all which inhibit learning and transfer of training. Lectures appeal to few of trainees' senses because trainees focus primarily on hearing information or seeing facts, principles, or processes. Lecture also make it difficult for the trainer to judge quickly and efficiently the learner's level of understanding. Dito, since ikaw as a trainer, yung center of attraction, bilang ikaw yung speaker, na-overpower natin minsan yung way on how we deliver knowledge. Nawawala na yung participation sa mga trainees natin dahil we are busy enough to share all the information that we want them to know. And also, pagdating sa lectures, yung mga trainees, it's easy for them to give their ears to the speaker, but yung focus ay mahirap i-build. So, maaaring nakikinig sila, yes, but the fact na iba sila nakafocus, ang tendency is nahihirapan tayo malaman if na-acquire ba ng mga trainees natin yung mga pinagsasabi natin, unless we ask question from them about the topic and call somebody to share in the class about sa mga natutunan nila.
So, ayan po, ang next report po is audiovisual techniques. Audiovisual instruction includes overheads, slides, and video. So, yun sa audiovisual techniques, dito napapaloob yung mga overheads, slides, at yung mga video, o yung mga ginagamitan natin ng visual at the same time yung audio kung saan pwede natin itong makita at marinig. Video is used for improving communication skills, interviewing skills, and customer service skills, and for illustrating how procedures should be followed. Yun nga, sa video presentation, mabilis tayong natututo dahil nakikita natin at naririnig kung paano ginagawa kung paano ginagawa yung isang bagay. Video is usually used in conjunction with lectures to show trainees real-life experiences and examples. Yon, sa pamamagitan ng video na ipapakita natin kung paano gumagana or nangyayari yung isang bagay. Bali dito, mas mapapadali yung pagpapaliwanag natin sa isang trainees na mag-receive ng isang lesson or ng isang lectures. Bali dito, mas mapapabilis natin yung interaction ng mga ideas sa isang trainees. Next is the use of video in training has a number of advantages. So, yun sa audiovisual, bali ito yung mga advantages niya. Una, trainers can review, slow down, or speed up the lesson, which gives them flexibility in customizing the session depending on trainees' expertise. So yun, sa pamamagitan ng video, may possibility na yung trainers i-customize niya yung isang video sa base doon sa pangangailangan ng isang trainees. Bali, kung ano yung capabilities ng trainees, pwedeng i-customize ng isang trainers yung yung video niya para maging angkop doon sa pasibo na makikinig o manonood ng video. Trainees can watch the video multiple times if they have access to it during and after the training session. Yon, sa video, pwede siyang balik-balikan ng mga trainees o yung ng mga yung papasok sa isang training. Bali yun, pwede nilang pabalik-balikan kung saan sila nahihirapan or kung saan yung mas gusto pa nilang maunawaan. Trainees can be exposed to equipment, problems, and events that cannot be easily demonstrated, such as equipment malfunctions, angry customers, or emergencies. Yon, sa pamamagitan ng videos na ipapakita natin yung mga real life problems o yung mga real life situations kung saan dito mas parang may aangkop natin yung sarili natin at mas madali nating maunawaan kung paano nangyayari yung isang bagay sa pamamagitan ng mga video presentation o yung audiovisual techniques. Trainees are provided with consistent instruction. Yun nga, sa pamamagitan ng video, bali yun, may possibility na yung trainees, pwede niyang balik-balikan yun at the same time, magturo sa kanya magturo sa kanya kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin. Bali dito, magiging consistent o yung paulit, magiging yung mabilis niya ma-adapt yung isang lesson dahil sa video. Videotaping trainees allows them to see and hear their own performance without the interpretation of the trainer. So yun, sa pamamagitan ng videotaping, bali dito, may possibility na yung isang trainees kaya niyang i-evaluate yung sarili niya sa pamamagitan ng pag-record sa kung paano niya ginagawa yung isang bagay. Bali dito, may possibility na yung trainees mag-improve siya sa pamamagitan ng panonood lamang ng videotape niya or yung sa ginawa niyang recording. Video requires minimal knowledge of technology and equipment. So yun nga, mabilis ang setup lang yung video. Bali dito, kahit sa isang click mo lang, pwede ka na makapag-record, makanood ng video. Bali dito, tutulungan ka ng video na mabilis lang mag-record ng sarili mong video or makanood ka ng isang video about sa lesson nyo. Next is yung hands-on methods naman tayo. Hands-on methods are training methods that require the trainee to be actively involved in learning. Yon, sa word na hands-on, bali yung mismong trainee yung nandoon sa sa mismong event o sa mismong place ng na dapat na may matutunan siya. These methods include OJT, simulations, case studies, business games, role-playing, and behavior modeling. Yan. Sa una is yung OJT o yung on-the-job training. On-the-job training refers to new or inexperienced employees learning in the work setting and during work by observing peers or managers performing the job and then trying to imitate their behavior. Yan. Sa OJT daw, bali ito yung mga yung mga baguhan pa lang or yung inexperienced employees o yung pwede natin sabihin na mga estudyante kung saan inaalam nila kung ano yung possible na mangyari sa isang workplace o yung sa pamamagitan ng nila pag-observe sa mga manager, sa mga tao na nandoon, sa mga trabahador. Bali doon, matututo sila sa mga nandoon. Sa pamamagitan ng OJT, bali parang nasa real world situation yung mga student o yung mga trainees, pero doon mag-o-observe muna sila. OJT has several advantages over other training methods. Bali ito yung mga advantages niya. Una, it can be customized to the experiences and abilities of trainees. So yun, bali dito yung OJT daw pwede siyang tumugon base doon sa sa pangangailangan ng isang trainees. Bali, halimbawa, ito pala yung specialization ng isang trainees. Bali, yung OJT, doon lang siya magfo-focus. Bali dito, mas bilis na matutunan ng isang trainees kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin sa isang workplace kapag nandun na siya. Next is yung training is immediately applicable to the job because OJT occurs on the job using actual tools and equipment. As a result, trainees are highly motivated to learn. Yun nga, sa OJT, bali dito, may mga actual tools, may mga actual equipment, kung ano yung mga possible nilang gamitin sa mismong trabaho. Bali sa OJT, nai-expose na sila sa mismong scenario or yung lugar kung saan sila possible na magtrabaho sa hinaharap after nilang makapagtapos. Both trainees and trainers are at the job site and continue to work while training occurs. This means that the companies save the cost related to bringing trainees to ascend location, hiring trainers, and renting training facilities. OJT can be offered at any time and trainers will be available because they are peers or managers. Yon sa OJT, bali dito mas makakatipid yung kumpanya o yung isang nagpapatrain dahil nga dito yung mismong work setting nandoon sila at the same time yung mga trainers nila, yung mga peers or yung managers na mas nakakaalam doon sa work, yung field of work na yon. Bali dito mas may interaction yung mga trainees at the same time yung mismong nandoon din yung dapat nilang matutunan. Finally, OJT uses actual job tasks and occurs at work. As a result, skills learned in OJT more easily transferred to the job. Yun nga, di ba? Dahil sa halos real life situation na at the same time, yung mga nagtuturo sa kanila is yung mga professional talaga sa field na yon. Bali dito, mas mabilis silang mai-apply yung matututunan nila sa OJT sa kapag bumasok na sila sa kanilang pagtatrabaho. Bali dito sa OJT, mabilis silang mai-apply yung mga lessons o yung mga lecture na itinuro sa kanila sa pagtatrabaho doon sa OJT. Next is yung there are several disadvantages to this unstructured approach to OJT. So yun, kapag yung OJT naman, hindi siya gaanong naplano, ito yung mga several disadvantage. Una, managers and peers may not use the same process to complete a task. They may pass on bad habits as well as useful skills. Yun nga, kapag hindi maayos yung handle sa OJT, may possibility na yung kung ano yung process na dapat nila matutunan, hindi magiging angkop doon sa mismong ituturo sa kanila. Kasi nga wala yung awareness ng mga managers at peers kung ano yung dapat nilang ituturo. They may not understand that demonstration, practice, and feedback are important conditions for effective OJT. So yun nga, kapag hindi structure o yung hindi maayos yung pagkakaayos ng isang OJT, hindi nila maunawaan or hindi nila malalaman kung ano yung pinaka-importanting aspect. Yun. Isa yung demonstration, practice, and feedback. Kung saan dito, mas matututunan ng isang trainees kung ano yung dapat nilang gawin sa pamamagitan ng interaction sa mga actual interaction dun sa managers and peers nila. Unstructured OJT can result in poorly trained employees who use ineffective or dangerous methods to produce a product or provide a service and produce products or services that vary in quality. Yun nga, kapag hindi maayos yung isang OJT, bali yung mga trainees or yung employees na magpapasok doon, may possibility na hindi maayos yung pagkakaturo sa kanila, hindi nakasunod-sunod or yung proseso, hindi siya dadaan sa tamang proseso kapag hindi maayos yung pagkagawa ng OJT. Kaya dapat bago maigawa yung isang OJT, may maayos na proseso para yung mula sa umpisa, mabilis lang matutunan habang tumatagal. Next, yung effective OJT programs include bilang para maging effective yung OJT programs, ito yung mga sumusunod. Una, a policy statement that describes the purpose of OJT and emphasize the company's support for it. So yun nga, dapat may policy statement sila kung saan naka-include dun yung mga kailangan gawin, kung bakit kailangan gawin yung isang OJT, saka kung ano yung mga dapat nilang gawin kapag may mga nag-OJT doon sa mismong place nila, and emphasizes the company's support for it. Yun nga, dapat may actual na information yung company at may actual support din sila doon sa sa OJT kapag kino-conduct na yun, kasi para mas effective yung pag-a-apply nila ng mga lessons. A clear specification of who is accountable for conducting OJT. If managers conduct OJT, this is mentioned in their job descriptions and is part of their performance evaluations. So yun, dapat sa mga magiging mag-ahandle ng OJT, dapat maayos yung specifications o yung dapat sila talaga yung magkakandak ng OJT. Kasi minsan, baka minsan kasi makuha ng company sa pagkandak ng OJT is yung hindi siya yung well trained or hindi siya yung highly equipable about sa OJT. Kaya dapat bago sila mag-conduct ng OJT, yung kukunin nila is yung na natutunan na kung paano mag-conduct ng OJT. At thorough review of OJT practices, program content, types of jobs, length of program, cost savings at other companies in similar industries. Yan, dapat nire-review din nila yung OJT practices, kung ano yung dapat gawin, kung ano yung dapat ilagay lang doon, kung ano yung dapat ilang i-conduct sa mismong OJT. Tapos next, training of managers and peers in the principle of structured OJT. So yun, dapat maging aware yung mga managers and peers about sa OJT na i-conduct nila. Bali dito, tutulungan silang mag-adapt sa kung paano yung gagawin nilang OJT. Next is yung availability of lesson plans, checklist, procedure manuals, training manuals, learning contracts, and progress reports for use by employees who conduct in OJT. So yun dito, dapat open or applicable sa kanilang lahat yung mga needs na to o yung mga materials na to para yung pag-evaluate nila sa OJT o yung pag-conduct nila ng OJT, mabilis lang nilang mai-apply doon sa mismong scenario or scene na pag-OJT-han. Evaluation of employees, levels of basic skills, reading, computation, and writing. So yun, bago mag-conduct ng OJT, dapat may while conducting OJT, nandito na yung evaluation. Makikita dito kung effective ba or kung tama ba yung kung naging maganda pa yung result ng isang OJT at kung naging capable pa yung mga trainees doon. Bali dito, mas tutulungan yung company na ma-evaluate yung capabilities ng isang employee. So yun, next naman is yung self-directed learning. Self-directed learning has employees the responsibility for all aspects of learning, including when it is conducted and who will be involved. Yun, sa word na self-directed, bali yung mismong employee yung kailangan matuto sa pamamagitan ng pagpunta niya sa isang lugar. Bali dito, siya yung may responsibilidad na matutunan yung mga bagay. Walang magtuturo dito compared dun sa OJT. Trainees master predetermined training content at their own pace without an instructor. Yun nga, walang magtuturo sa mga magkakonduct ng self-directed learning. Trainers may serve as facilitators, that is, trainers are available to evaluate learning or answer questions for the training. Yun nga, bali sila din magsisilbing facilitators doon. At the same time, mag-i-evaluate ng mag-i-evaluate ng mga natutunan or yung mga magsagot ng mga questions. The trainer does not control or disseminate instruction. The learning process is controlled by the trainee. Yun nga, dahil nga sa directed ito, bali yung trainees, siya yung may responsibility para matuto sa pamamagitan ng kanyang kung paano siya mag-a-adapt doon. Self-directed learning has several advantages. Yan, unang advantages, it allows trainees to learn at their own pace and receive feedback about the learning performance. Yun nga, bali dito, may kakayahan sila matuto sa pamamagitan ng sarili nilang techniques, strategies, bali at the same time, makaka-receive sila ng feedback about sa kanilang mga natutunan. For the company, self-directed learning requires fewer trainers, reduces costs associated with travel and meeting rooms, and makes multiple site training more realistic. So yan, dito naman, sa kumpanya naman, bali dito, mas mababawasan yung cost nila about sa training. Dahil nga, di ba, directed siya, yung employees o yung trainees mismo yung magkakonduct o gagawin ng estratehiya niya kung paano siya matututo doon. Next, the directed learning provides consistent training content that captures the knowledge of experts. Yun nga, bali nga, dahil sa directed siya, dapat yung learnings na nakalagay doon or yung ideas consistent na i-add kung saan mas madadagdagan yung mga knowledge ng mga experts o yung makakapture niya yung knowledge ng mga experts. Self-directed learning also makes it easier for ship employees to gain access to training materials. Yun nga, bali mabilis lang nilang magamit yung mga training materials dahil nga self-directed sila, kailangan nilang matuto sa pamamagitan ng kanilang strategy. Yan, a major disadvantage of self-directed learning. Trainees must be willing to learn on their own and feel comfortable doing so. That is, trainees must be motivated to learn. Yan. Unang disadvantage niya, yung sa matututo sa pamamagitan nila. Pero, at the same time, walang mag-guide sa kanila. Bali dito, hindi gaano malalaman ng trainees kung tama ba yung ginagawa niya or walang mag-evaluate sa kanya kaagad kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin doon sa isang bagay na yon. From the company perspective, self-directed learning results in higher development costs and development time is longer than with other types of training programs. Yun nga, mas pinahaba yung development time dahil nga self-directed siya, kailangan ng careful planning bago i-conduct ito kasi nga, diba, dapat matuto yung employees or trainees sa pamamagitan ng sarili nilang techniques. Bali dito, dapat ma-evaluate sila kung ano yung dapat nilang gawin. Next is there are several types that are necessary to develop effective self-directed learning. Una, conduct a job analysis to identify the tasks that must be covered. Yun, dapat aalamin natin kung ano yung trabaho na dapat lang nilang matutunan sa pamamagitan ng job analysis. Bali dito, iaangkop natin doon sa matututunan nila sa directed learning para yung knowledge mabilis silang ma-adapt based doon sa kanilang capabilities. Right training-centered learning objectives directly related to the task. Yun nga, dapat yung objective maging related sa task. Bali, kung ano yung objective, yun din yung lalabas doon sa mga dapat nilang gagawin para yung learning outcomes nandoon matutunan din ng mga trainees na magkakonduct ng self-directed learning. Next, develop that content for the learning package. This involves developing scripts for video or text screens for computer-based training. The content should be based on the trainee-centered learning objectives. Yun na, dapat mag-develop yung company ng isang learning package o yung mga dapat basahin or panoorin ng isang trainees. Bali dito, ito yung magiging guide nila sa pagkakonduct nila ng self-directed learning. Bali sa pamamagitan nito, mas mag-guide yung mga trainees kung ano yung dapat nilang gawin. At the same time, dapat yung nilalaman ng modules na yon or learning package na yon maging angkop siya doon sa objectives na dapat matutunan ng isang trainees. Next, break the content into smaller pieces or chunks. The chunks always begin with the objectives that will be governed and include a method for trainees to evaluate their learning. So yun nga, dapat para mabilis ma-adapt ng isang trainees yung isang objectives, dapat yung paggawa doon naka-break into smaller pieces o yung sa chunks. Bali dito, unti-unti niyang i-adapt yung mga topics na yun or yung lessons na yun para mai-apply niya yun effectively sa dapat niyang gawin. Yun, sa umpisa ng chunks, palagi siyang objectives, what will be covered, o yung dapat, o kung ano yung mga dapat nilalaman ng isang teksto or yung isang learning package sa ano na yon, sa part na yon. Bali dito matututo yung trainees kung ano yung dapat niyang i-evaluate sa sarili niya na dapat natutunan niya base doon sa objectives sa mismong part na yon. Next is yung develop an evaluation package that includes evaluation of the trainee and evaluation of the self-directed learning package. Training evaluation should be based on the objectives, a process known as criterion referencing. That is, questions should be developed that are written directly from the objectives and can be answered directly from the materials. So yun nga, dapat may evaluation package din para sa mga trainees. Bali dito, matututunan kung yung trainees ba na-adapt niya yung mga nandoon sa learning packages niya. At the same time, yung evaluation din sa self-directed learning package, kung naging angkop pa ito sa mga objectives na dapat kinapapaloob ng isang training module o ng isang training packages. Kasi nga dapat maging angkop siya para yung learnings mas maging effective para doon sa isang trainees. At ito na po report ko. Salamat po.
Apprenticeship is a work-study training method with a both on-the-job and classroom training. The typical length of apprenticeship is 4 years, but this can range from 2 to 6 years. It's an apprenticeship program to hours and weeks that must be devoted to completing specific skill unit are clearly defined. So, apprenticeship is a post-secondary option para sa mga gustong maging skill trained. Sabi nga, apprenticeship is a work-study training and method with both on-the-job and classroom training. Kumbaga, yung mga trainee, nag-spend sila ng oras para sa job nila at the same time, pumapasok din sila sa classroom. Tapos, para naman ma-qualify ka as unregistered apprentice, kailangan mong makompleto yung time in classroom instruction and complete the training level. Pagkatapos magtitake ka na ng exam, if ever man na pumasa ka, magiging fully certified duty person ka na. Kasi para sa mga apprentice, hindi sila required na magtrabaho pagkatapos nila mag-graduate. Parang kailangan muna nilang mag-take ng exam bago magtrabaho. Simulation is a training method that represents a real-life situation with trainees' decisions resulting in outcomes that mirror what would happen if they were on the job. Simulation replicate the physical equipment, patients, and conditions that employees encounter on the job. Simulation, ito yung training na nagre-represent nga sa real life situation. Kumbaga, ito yung training na tinitrain sila kung ano yung mangyayari or gagawin nila sa future job nila. For example, nito nung pilot, mga seaman, fireman, ganun. Tapos, isa rin siyang paraan naman para ma-develop yung skill ng training through virtual reality para ma-imitate nila yung kung ano yung talagang ginagawa dun sa work environment. Case study. A case study is the description about the employees or an organization dealt with a difficult situation. Trainees are required to analyze and critique the action taken, indicating the appropriate action and suggesting what might have been done differently. Sa case study naman, it help you with training and developing the skills and attributes for employees. Case study, tinitrain yung mga trainees na i-analyze o maging critical thinker, kasi dito parang sinusubukan yung mga trainee kung hanggang saan nila kayang mag-isip ng solution dun sa problem. Na makakatulong naman sa trainee para ma-develop yung intellectual skills nila and attribute as an future employee. Tapos dito rin parang sinusubukan yung willingness ng trainee na mag-take ng risk based sa kung paano sila mag-analyze ng problem or mag-isip ng solution. Business games require trainings to gather information, analyze, and make decision. Business games are primarily used for manage skills develop. Business games are also called business simulation games. Ginagamit as an educational tool for teaching business. Business games din para siyang way para ma-develop yung skills ng trainees, para din siyang technique para magkaroon ng knowledge yung mga trainees. For example, sa school, para ganahan tsaka mag-participate yung mga students, nagkakaroon sila ng games na pwedeng way kung paano nila i-deliver yung lesson na nasa technique na yun. Pwede silang makagain ng knowledge at may imitate pa nila or may visualize pa nila yung work environment sa future job nila.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Alexander Mansarata reporting for role plays. Role plays refer to experiences in which trainees take on a role such a manager, client, or disgruntled employee and explore what is involved in the role. Role plays are usually included in training programs involving interpersonal skills such as communications, sales, providing performance feedback, coaching, leadership, and team building. Role plays can be completed in small groups or 2 to 3 persons in which all trainees complete the role play, or several trainees can volunteer to role play while the remaining trainees observe them. In a role play, outcomes depend on the emotional and subjective reactions of the other trainees. So yung pagkakaroon daw ng role plays ay very important sa training. Kasi yung role play, ipinapakita nito kung ano ba yung mga responsibilities ng bawat isa or ng bawat empleyado. So katulad nga dito, sinabi dito, nakakatulong daw yung pagkakaroon ng role plays sa communication, sales, providing performance feedback, and nakakatulong din to sa coaching, leadership, at team building. Dahil kasi dito, mas naboboast yung capability at yung kakayanan ng bawat empleyado sa kanilang pagtatrabaho. So, dahil din sa pamamagitan din ng pag-roleplay, nagkakaroon ng ideya yung mga empleyado kung ano nga ba yung responsibility ng bawat isa sa kanila. Table 7.7, Activities for Effective Role Plays. Provide background information on the purpose of and context for the role play. Make sure that a script is provided with enough detail for trainees to understand their role. The room is arranged so trainees can see and hear the role players. Observation sheets and checklists that emphasize the issues in the role play are developed and used. The briefing occurs on the experience of the role players and observers, the relationship of the role play to the company context, and important learning points. So dito daw sa pagkakaroon ng effective role plays, kailangan unang-una sa lahat, yung room dapat conducive siya. Kailangan tahimik, kailangan maayos na lugar, at yung bang maririnig ng bawat isa yung sinasabi ng mga nagro-role play. And yung pagkakaroon daw ng observation sheets at saka ng checklist. Kasi dito magkakaroon sila ng retention kapagka may mga ganito silang klase ng ah, observations at saka checklist. At saka ano, kailangan daw na yung bawat roleplay, kailangan nabi-brief din sila kung ano nga ba yung ginagampanan nilang role at saka ano yung importansya ng pagganap nila doon. And doon naman sa mga nanonood, very important na makita din nila kung ano yung kahalagahan ng pagganap ng mga nagro-roleplay sa totoong buhay kapag sila na mismo yun nandoon sa sitwasyon. Behavior modeling. Behavior modeling presents trainees with a model who demonstrate key behaviors to replicate and provide trainees with the opportunity to practice the key behaviors. Behavior modeling is based on the principles of social learning theory discussed in Chapter 4, which emphasize that learning occurs by one, observation of behaviors demonstrated by a model, and two, vicarious reinforcement. Vicarious reinforcement occurs when a trainee sees a model receiving reinforcement for using certain behaviors. So dito naman sa ano daw, sa behavior modeling, dahil din sa pamamagitan ng pagro-roleplay, na ipapakita din yung behavior modeling. Dahil sa ano pa lang, doon pa lang sa roleplay, na ipapakita na yung possible situations na pwedeng kaharapin ng bawat empleyado kapag nagwo-work na talaga sila. Kaya very important din sa pagkakaroon ng behavior na ipapakita ko ano yung mga attitudes or yun nga, yung mga behavior towards a certain situation na maipapakita ng bawat empleyado. And ang maganda din dito is that it is also a preparation for every individual or employees for their future and for every certain situation that they might face. Another important consideration in developing behavior modeling programs is the modeling display. The modeling display provides the key behaviors that the trainees will practice to develop the same set of behaviors. DVDs and online video are the predominant methods used to present modeling displays. In online behavior modeling training, the learner can practice the key behaviors by watching scenarios that mimic an interpersonal interaction at certain points during the scenario. For example, when asked a question, the learner is asked to choose one of several choices of how they would respond. Just like in a real interpersonal interaction, they then see how the other person would react to their response. So, very important din no, yung pagkakaroon ng modeling display. Kasi sa modeling display, ito yung visual na mas madaling nakakabisado ng kahit sinong tao, especially ng mga employee, pagka may nakikita talaga nila kung ano yung itinuturo sa kanila. So having a modeling display, mas makakapture nila kung ano ba yung essence nung training na ginagawa nila at ano yung importansya nun na magagamit nila in their work, in their jobs. And sinabi din dito na ano daw yung maaaring maging reaction nila in terms of interpersonal. So kapag nag-interpersonal na, dito na papasok kung ano yung mga natutunan nila sa training na kailangan nilang i-apply in real life. So sa role plays pa lang, kailangan maipakita na doon yung different scenario na mga possibilities na pwede nilang kaharapin. And because of that role plays, mas nagiging prepare sila physically and emotionally doon sa mga future uncertainty. The next one is example of key behaviors in problem analysis. Get all relevant information by rephrasing the question or problem to see if new issues emerge. Listening the key problem is problem issues. Considering other problem sources of information, identify possible causes. If necessary, obtain additional information. Evaluate the information to ensure that all essential criteria are met. Restate the problem considering new information. Determine what criteria indicate that the problem or issue has been resolved. So dito naman sa sa problem analysis, kailangan dito naman maipakita kung yun nga, yung mga future uncertainty, yung mga problem na pwede nilang makaharap, yung different issues na possible in the future to happen. So dito, sinasabi dito, kailangan you have enough information. You have to evaluate the problem. Kailangan i-rephrase mo yung questions kasi yung pagka may mga sitwasyon na hindi mo masyado naiintindihan dun sa pagkakasabi nung tao, kailangan mo siyang i-rephrase in such a way na parang mauunawaan mo at para magkaroon ka ng concrete idea dun sa sinasabi or dun sa problem at para mabigyan mo rin ng concrete solution. So kailangan meron kang other ways na pwedeng gawin when resolving a problem. Behavior modeling. Behavior modeling helps ensure that transfer of training occurs by using application planning. Application planning prepares trainees to use the key behaviors on the job. Example enhances transfer of training. Application planning involves having all participants prepare a written document identifying specific situation in which they should use the key behaviors. Some training programs actually have trainees complete a contract outlining the key behaviors that they agree to use on the job. The trainer may follow up with the trainees to see if they are performing according to the contract. So dito naman sa behavior modeling, ito na yung part na kung saan kung ano yung mga natutunan mo doon sa role play, may apply mo na siya. Kaya meron dito yung application planning. So dito sa application planning, dito nakalagay yung kung ano yung mga natutunan mo, ano ba yung mga nandun sa handouts, ano yung natutunan nyo doon sa role play na you should apply in your job. Doon naman sa meron din sinasabi dito na complete a contract outlining. Sa contract outlining, meron kang specific job na kailangan gawin, meron kang specific things na how will you respond doon sa mga tao or doon sa job na ginagawa mo. And having contract, parang dito nagiging limited lang yung mga information na, for example, limited lang information na pwede mong ibigay or information or things na kailangan mong gawin. Group building method. Group building methods are training methods designed to improve team or group effectiveness. A team refers to two or more people with specific roles or functions who work together with shared responsibility to achieve a common goal or mission or complete task in a company. In group building method, trainees share ideas and experiences, build group identity, understand the dynamics of personal relationships, and get to know their own strengths and weaknesses and those of their coworkers. Group techniques focus on helping teams increase their skills for effective teamwork. A number of training techniques are available to improve work group or team performance, to establish a new team, or to improve interactions among different teams. So sa pagkakaroon naman ng group building method, dito hinahayaan yung bawat isa na magkaroon sila ng idea, mag-share sila ng kanilang mga thoughts, and kung paano sila makikahalubilo sa bawat isa. Kaya dito, parang it's a group of two or more people. So dito, nagkakaroon ng interaction and they can contribute their skills, their knowledge and skills sa among the group. Kasi kapag ka sa real job na, nagkakaroon ng mga team. So sa team, kailangan meron doon na at least different ideas and skills na pwede nilang maitulong as a team. So dito pa lang sa pagkakaroon ng group building, katulad ng mga group building activities, doon pala nagsisimula na yung mga training on how will they interact with their coworkers. And of course, dito din nade-develop yung skills ng bawat isa kapag may mga natututunan sila doon din sa mga coworkmates nila. Experiential learning training programs have 4 stages. Number 1, gain conceptual knowledge and theory. Number 2, take part in a behavioral simulation. Number 3, analyze the activity. And 4, connect the theory and activity with on-the-job or real-life situation. Dito daw sa sa experiential learning training, more aside from you have your own experience na natutunan or yung theory, kailangan din meron din yung sa training. Kaya dito sinabi gain conceptual knowledge and theory. So magi-gain ka or makakukuha ka ng mga enough knowledge para apply mo doon sa work mo. Dito naman din, sinasabi ni dito yung behavioral simulation. Dito din, dahil din sa pagkakaroon ng group activity, yung behavior natin, nagbabago siya depending doon sa mga nakakasalamuhan natin. So, as a group, kailangan we also manage our behavior towards in communicating with other people. And of course, you analyze the activity that you can use on the job training or real life situation. So very important talaga yung pagkakaroon ng analyzation sa mga activities that we can use. Adventure learning. Adventure learning is an experiential learning method that focuses on the development of teamwork and leadership skills through structured activities. Adventure learning includes wilderness training, outdoor training, improvisational activities, drum circles, and even cooking classes. Adventure learning appears to be best suited for developing skills related to group effectiveness, such as self awareness, problem solving, conflict management, and risk taking. Adventure learning may involve strenuous, challenging physical activities such as dog, dog sledding or mountain climbing. Adventure learning can also use structured individual and group activities such as wall climbing, rope courses, trust falls, ladder climbing, and traveling from one tower to another using device attached to a wire that connects the two towers. So sa adventure learning, as a group, meron kayong kanya-kanyang kakayanan na matututunan or makukuhang knowledge sa bawat isa. Now, sa pagkakaroon ng adventure learning, kung ano yung knowledge na meron kayo, mas madedevelop nyo yun. Tapos makakagain din kayo ng another lesson or another experience mula doon sa pagkakaroon niya ng activity. Kaya siya tinawag na adventure kasi it's more on mental and physical. Kasi sinusukat din nito kung yung kakayanan mo mag-isip sa isang sitwasyon kung ano yung strategies na pwede mong gamitin. Na for some reason, sa mga companies na papasukan natin, may mga iba't ibang situations na hindi natin alam kung paano sisimulan. So, yung pagkakaroon natin ng at least idea kung paano natin gagawin, sa adventure learning, nagkaroon na tayo ng idea. So dito din sinabi nga dito yung pagkakaroon ng mga iba't ibang gawain katulad nung trust fall, ladder climbing. So yung mga yon kailangan meron din maranasan din yung mga yon para in the future or dun sa company na papasukan is magagamit nyo siya and magkaroon din kayo ng trust sa inyong mga katrabaho. And as a whole, it could be a fun activity that every employees will enjoy, and at the same time, they have something to share and learn that they can use in their company. So that's all for my report. Thank you.
Team training. Team training refers to training that is designed to improve team effectiveness. So, team training is a kind of training that is designed to improve or enhance the efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity of the team. Nakakatulong to para mas maging productive yung isang team in any situation. Ang companies ay binubuo ng mga teams in which are production team, committees, project teams, and management teams. So, makikita natin dito sa figure 7.3 components of team performance. Tapos, yung team performance naman ay nakabase sa tatlong aspect, behavioral, knowledge, and attitude. Ang mga aspect na ito ay dapat acquired ng team members. So first, the behavioral. The behavioral requirement means that team members must perform action that allow them to communicate, coordinate, adapt, and complete complex tasks to accomplish their objective. So sa behavioral, dito makikita yung paano makipag-coordinate yung team members sa team niya through communication, adaptation, and complete tasks as a team. This action must result to the successfulness of a team. So next, knowledge. The knowledge component requires team members to have mental models or memory structures that allow them to function effectively in an anticipated or new situation. So sa knowledge aspect naman dito makita yung competency ng mga team members when unnecessary and unanticipated situation happen. Dito makikita yung effectiveness ng mental models and memory structure nila. So last, attitude. Team members' beliefs about the task and feelings toward each other related to the attitude component. So sa attitude, dito makikita yung comfortable ba yung member doon sa task and also sa team niya. Malaking effect ang feelings ng mga member when doing a task since it is a team task. Kapag nag-collapse yung isang member, there will be a domino effect that may cause to the failure of the whole team. Example nito ay yung sa military forces team, which are assigned to the nuclear weapon. Since this task is done by team, the successfulness of this task is depends on the coordination of individual tasks to do decision making, team performance, and also yung readiness nila to deal when unnecessary or dangerous situation that may occur. So next, makita natin dito sa picture 7.4 main elements of the structure of team training. So, didiscuss ko dito yung strategies when it comes to team training. So, first is cross-training. Cross-training has team members understand and practice each other's skills so that members are prepared to step in and take the place of a member who may temporarily or permanently leave the team. So, sa cross-training, dito nire-required na dapat yung mga team member alam nila yung trabaho ng bawat isa. They allow team members to understand and practice other members' tasks. This is done because of any unnecessary situation. Like kapag may aalis sa grupo, kayang i-fill out ng ibang member yung position or task nung umalis. In this way, the team will not collapse and may continue to perform the task given. So, next is coordination training. Coordination training instructs the team in how to share information and decision-making responsibility to maximize team performance. So, sa coordination training naman ay tumutukoy sa pangkabuang performance ng team. Dito minimeasure yung decision-making as a team ng isang team. So, they disseminate the info and how they decide as a whole. Example nito ay yung sa surgical team. Bilang buhay yung kapalit, minamaximize ng surgical team yung team performance nila through coordination and decision making in order to prevent or reduce the harm to the patient. So next, team leader training. Team leader training refers to training that the team manager or facilitator receives. So sa team leader training naman, dito nakapokus yung training sa mga team manager or leader. Dito ine-enhance and ine-improve yung capabilities and skill nila when it comes to guiding and facilitating the whole team. Kung effective ang guiding and facilitating skills ng isang leader, then they can assure na yung task will be successful. Example nito ay yung mga management team sa isang companies. Since yung task ay maramihan at complicated, the team leader or manager should do his best in order to facilitate and guide well the members in order to achieve a successful result. So, next naman is scenario-based training. Scenario-based training refers to training that places team members in a realistic context while learning. So, sa scenario-based training naman, refers to the on-hand situation training. So, dito nilalagay yung isang team sa realistic situation. Dito masusubukan yung effectiveness when it comes to a real situation na kung saan yung unexpected things may occur. Dito masusubok yung readiness and effectiveness ng isang team when it comes to a real life situation. Example nito yung mga rescue team. Nagsasagawa sila ng mga disaster drills na kung saan yung training team
yung sinasabak. Dito ang drills na to, maraming unexpected na pwedeng mangyari kaya dapat effective yung team and they always prepare for any dangerous situation that may occur. So last is guided team self-correction. So guided team self-correction refers to training that emphasize continuous learning and knowledge sharing in teams. So sa guided team self-correction, dito mapapasok yung continuous learning ng team and dissemination of knowledge. Dito sa strategy, meron ng team performance feedback in which the team can use to access yung mga coordination and performance nila as a whole. So next is action learning. Action learning gives teams or work groups an actual problem, has them work on solving it and committing to an action plan, and then hold them accountable for carrying out the plan. So, sa action learning, tumutukoy ito sa pagbibigay ng actual problem in an organization or company sa mga teams or groups para masolusyonan nila yung current problem and to form an action plan regarding the problem. Also, sila rin yung accountable para i-carry out yung action plan na yon. Companies use this action learning in important problems, develop leaders, quickly build high-performance teams, and to transform organizational culture. So, dito sa table 7.10 na step in action learning. So, una, identification of the sponsor of action learning including CEOs and top managers. So, una, kailangan mo munang identify kung sino ba yung nagbigay ng action learning and sino yung involved. This include the big bosses like CEO and top managers. So, second, identification of the problem or issue. Pangalawa, identify the problem. Ano ba yung problema? This step must answer the 5WH question. So, third, identification and selection of the group who can address the problem. So, sa pangatlo naman, identify at piliin kung sino-sino ang appropriate para ma-address yung problem. So, fourth, identification of coaches who can help the group reframe the problem and improve its problem solving by listening, giving feedback, offering assumption, and so on. So sa pang-apat naman, identify kung sino yung pwedeng maging coach or advisor ng team para makatulong kung paano ma-address yung problem and to improve the problem solving of a team by giving them feedback and offering assumption. This coach or advisor must be knowledgeable about the problem. So next, fifth naman, presentation of the problem to the group. So yung panglima, yung presentation ng problem sa group or team. So pang-anim, group discussion that includes reframing the problem and agreement on what the problem is, what the group should do to solve the problem, and how the group should proceed. So, yung grupo discussion, dito na pumapasok yung brainstorming ng group para ma-address yung problem. Nakapaloob din dito kung ano yung solution, ano yung mga hakbang na gagawin at kung paano ma-proceed yung team. Pang-pito, data gathering and analysis relevant to solving the problem done by the group as a whole as well as by individual members. So, pang-pito, yung data gathering that is relevant to solve the problem. This includes group and individual action. So, pang-walo, group presentation on how to solve the problem with the goal of securing a from the sponsor to act on the group's recommendation. So, Yung presentation ng group kung paano ma-address yung problem sa mga sponsor or big bosses. Kasama dito yung goal na ma-ensure nila na gagawin ng mga big bosses yung nirecommend nilang solusyon. So last, self-reflection and debriefing. Example, what have the group and group members learned? What might they have done differently? So next, Six Sigma Black Belt Training and Kaizen. Six Sigma and Kaizen Black Belt Training Program involve principle of action learning. Six Sigma Black Belt Training and Kaizen include the principle of an action learning. Six Sigma and Kaizen provide employees with measurement and statistical tools to help reduce defects and to cut costs. Yung Six Sigma and Kaizen nagpo-provide ng measurement and statistical tools sa employee to help them reduce defects or deficiency sa companies and also to reduce or cut costs to address the problem. Six Sigma is quality standard with a goal of no more than 3.4 defects per million processes. Six Sigma ay yung quality standard na naglilimit sa 3.4 defects per million process. To become black belts, trainees must participate in workshop and written assignment coached by expert instruction. Para naman maging black belt, trainees undergoes workshop and written assignment held by expert to improve and enhance their effectiveness and functionality. The Six Sigma training has resulted in beneficial project resulting in outcome shock as reducing the time it takes to hire a new employee from 75 to 45 days and reducing waste, defects, and rework. So, si Six Sigma training ay nagre-resulta sa beneficial project tulad ng pagre-reduce ng time para mag-hire ng tauhan. Kaizen refers to practice participated in by employees from all levels of the company that focus on continuous improvement of business process. Kaizen naman ay tumutukoy sa pangkalahatan, kasama ang iba't ibang levels ng organization chart, including the big bosses to improve business processes. So next, choosing a training method. As a trainer or manager, you will likely be asked to choose a training method given the large number of training methods available to you. This task may seem difficult. One way to choose a training method is to compare methods. So, when choosing a training method naman, there are some characteristics that must be considered before choosing the training method. Nakadepende sa kung anong outcome ang gustong i-achieve ng trainer. Ang trainer or manager ang pumipili ng training method para sa team. Things that must be considered are learning outcomes, such as verbal information, intellectual skills, cognitive, strategies, attitude, and motor skills. Yung learning environment ay kailangan ding i-consider which are clear objective practices, meaningfulness, feedback, and observation and interaction with others. Lastly, ang dapat ding i-consider ang transfer of training costs, such as development, administrative, and effectiveness. These are some examples of training method. Group building methods include behavioral modeling, adventure learning, team training, and action learning. Itong mga group building methods ay nagpo-focus sa individual and team learning, kapag ang outcome ay dapat nakapokus sa improvement of group effectiveness. Now, kung ang objective ay to provide a better learning environment and transfer of training hands-on method is advisable. Now, dito sa table of 7.11, in choosing a training method, the table in the PowerPoint can guide you. Tulad ng nasa table, mas madaling makita ang pinaka-appropriate na training method para sa objective mo kung i-compare mo sila. Comparison of training method. Comparison of training method is the best way to eliminate and pick the best training method suitable for your objective. So, yun lang po yung aming report. Thank you po.